Hello and welcome to another how-to video. My name is Ditech, CTO at DVS. Before you go any further, make sure you hit the subscribe, make sure you hit the like button so you will be notified of our weekly content. So, thank you for everybody that has already subscribed. We're doing really well on the channel. We always try and answer your comments, so please keep the comments coming. They're really interesting and it gives us something to focus on. Okay, so what are we going to take a look at today? Something super exciting. We haven't done an Anpr video for maybe 2 years now. The technology has been really stable and they haven't had a new product essentially until now. So those lovely folk at Hikvision HQ have now released a new Anpr camera, a new deep inline IDS7 line. So many of you are already using the the 7 line camera, should I say, let me correct myself, which is here. So this is the older 7 line camera fitted here at DVS looking at the entrance gate. Been around for 2 to 3 years, very stable, very accurate, and a lot of people are very familiar with its use and completely understand the configuration. And here's a car coming in now. Completely understand how to configure this product. We've done a nice video or 2 videos on the step-by-step process on the correct configuration of this product. So why release a new camera? If you remember, on the old 7 line product there was 2 distinct versions. Both versions were available in 2.8 to 12mm, which gives us a capture of around 15 meters from camera, and then an 8 to 32mm, which this is here, which gives a capture distance of around 35 meters from camera. So this one here captures around here, which is around 35 meters away from the camera head position. But there was also a version with a Weigand output on there. So some of you were using the Weigand output. Sorry, thanks for interrupting me. So some of you were already using the model with the Weigand output on there. That was used generally for the access control, mainly for Paxton integration, but some of you were using it for your own third-party software. So you'd have the Weigand output wired into a reader head, which would then allow you to integrate Anpr into an access control format. This model here, which I'll just bring it closer so you can see, let it focus on that. Available in both 2.8 and 8 to 32 as the previous model was. This has integrated Weigand, so effectively we go from 4 SKUs to just 2, which is really helpful for us, really helpful for you. But they've also, this is an IDS platform, not the normal DS7 line, so this benefits from an upgraded hardware and firmware algorithm. So better performance, better hardware, which allows us to do more improvements as we move forward. Now, we've had one of these on test for a couple of weeks now, and some of you as installers are already getting this new model. The feedback is absolutely fantastic. When we're seeing the performance, it's absolutely fantastic. So we're just going to show you quickly what's in the box, and then we're going to change over this older 7 line camera to this new IDS platform, and we're super excited about that. It's going to be really easy to swap over because the housing and the back box, integrated back box design, are completely familiar to what's already existing, so this should not take long to swap over effectively. And then we'll come back on the web browser and show you the step-by-step configuration. Now, the step-by-step configuration for this new IDS7 line is slightly different, which is why we're making a video for you. So we're going to quickly open up this box. So as usual, manual, waterproof tape for any connections made off of the back box, your connectors and a CVBS output, so you can put a test monitor on there to check whether the product is working. Integrated waterproof gland. And you can see the back box here, which is the same format as the older 7 line camera, so we're going to put that back in the box, and I'm just simply going to swap this over. So integrated back box, so integrated bracket design. The back box would be fitted on there. All of your cables are here, and they now come with the waterproof glands fitted. You can see after much feedback to HQ, each gland or each block comes with a waterproof gland on the top of it, and if you want to use it, simply remove the waterproof gland, fit the green connector on it, and wire your input, output, Weigand, etc. So we have RJ45 power connector, which is the most common. Then we have the DC 12 volt in. If you want to power it with 12 volt, that's fine. RS485, We've got the alarm input output. There's two of them. That's the 12 volt output. Weigand output here. So there's a Weigand output one there. Just drop the cable, the gland. We've got the alarm input, so two inputs, two outputs. And an audio connection. Audio out. Make sure that try your hardest. Audio in, audio out look. So it's got a full plethora. Nice word. Thanks, Gavin. Full plethora of connections there. Please make sure that you do keep the rubber glands on it when it stops any moisture seeking through the cable effectively. When you fit it on the back box, it really does make it nice and neat. But lots and lots of different connections on there. This can be used standalone. Most of you as installers will use this with an NVR and even Hike Central as the command and control mechanism. But we are able to use this as a standalone Anpr camera, either to retain number plate information for future reference or to open a gate via the output here. So nice and simple. The one thing I do want to show you is we also stock the Hikvision SD cards. So I'm going to fit an SD card into this camera and show you how you would configure the SD card if you do want this as a standalone product and not added through Hike Central, etc. We'll do an updated Hike Central video very shortly because we're now on version 2.2, so it's really important to update you on that as well. And don't forget, the most satisfying part is pulling the plastic peel off. So make sure you take the plastic peel off after you fitted it. But again, a fully adjustable bracket. It's got a lock-off screw here, which allows you to tilt it up, down, rotate the camera body, and then obviously the cutout allows you to turn it left and right, etc. Adjustable sun shield, built-in infrared. You've got two up, two down, and you've got your SD card there. So remove that cover by use of the two securing screws. There's a reset button and an SD card slot in there. So I'm going to fit the SD card, change the older 7 line over, and we're going to come back and show you the configuration on the web. So stay tuned, everybody. Okay, so we fitted the camera outside, we've replaced the older camera like I said, and now we're back in front of the PC to skip a little bit of this and make it quite, a little bit faster. We've already given it the IP address that we need and activated the camera using the SADP tool. So now we're going to use Microsoft Edge because a lot of people are finding Internet Explorer. If you can use Internet Explorer, fantastic. A lot of people are already going over to Edge, being removed from the Internet Explorer for an IT policy, it's end of life anyway, effectively. So I'm going to show you how you can actually launch the product in Internet Explorer mode, should you wish to, and any of our Hikvision products can be used in the same way. So first of all, I am going to turn my mouse on and off because the battery is just low. Get the mouse back. Okay, web browse into the product itself. Going to log in. So like I say, I've already activated this product. I'm not going to save the password. Okay, so the video will now start, and you can see it's actually looking at the gateway here. So we're actually in substream. I'm going to change it to the mainstream mode. There we go. So we're in the mainstream mode now. All we've done is adjusted it to give us the same view effectively as the older camera. It's a good view. Most of the cars, as they come into this property, enter or exit, they'll be, pretty straight on. So my center line is sort of there. But again, even if the camera or the product or the vehicle, I can't even speak this morning, even if the vehicle doesn't come straight on, it does still record the number plate. And hopefully we'll see a few of these. There we go. Is it coming into DVS? No, he's not. He's not going to come into DVS. Okay, so first thing we need to do, I'm going to show you quickly how to load this in Internet Explorer mode if that's what you want to do. So 3 buttons on the top. There's a cargo and a taxi, and you can see there it's clearly reading number plate, and that would have detected it. I haven't at this current moment in time set any of this number plate detection functionality up. This is right from the bat. So 3 burger buttons, top right hand corner, settings, and if you go to default browser, you can say allow sites to be reloaded in Internet Explorer. Allow. It's by default. It's either default or don't allow, so change it to allow, and you can actually add pages in there that will always open in Internet Explorer mode if you want to physically add them in, but they only last for 30 days. Then once you actually got that option allowed, you can go to reload in Internet Explorer mode, open that page in Internet Explorer mode, done, close that off. And now, effectively, we are in Internet Explorer mode. Okay, there's a nice little handy tip for you. Wait for this to load up again. So you can see a lot of the functionality that we'll go through today. The web browser is very common, so a lot of you are going to fully understand this web browser. But the one thing that does change is we've got the smart display and the VCA mode. So the VCA mode, if I go to configuration first, I'm trying to get ahead of myself here. First thing to do is check, that's the model number there. So 2 megapixel, 8 to 32mm lens. That's the current firmware, which is currently the latest, but I would always recommend that you are on the latest firmware. And to do that, if I just go to here and go Hikvision UK portal, there's an EU and a UK one. Come on, wait for this to load. So Portal UK. Portal, product firmware, Hikvision, Anpr has its own subsection. It's the IDS 7 line, but all of the other versions are there. And you can see here, that's the latest firmware. And you can see how to operate the Weigand if you want to download as a PDF. So you can open that as a PDF. It'll tell you how to wire it in, how to connect it, how to set the system up. Camera installation guide, it's really powerful. Go through there and it'll tell you, there we go. Lots of valuable information there, so you can download that directly from the website. They've only just sort of recently put that on there, but it's a really nice walkthrough guide with images. That part configuration if you're doing it, and the release notes. So I won't go through these specifically anymore. That's where you can find it if you want to update the firmware, which is really important. And then if you need a downloadable guide that walks you through it, if you watch this video, it'll be just as well. Okay, so configuration, we've done that. Metadata settings, road traffic is enabled, and click save. Weigand, you can enable it if you want, and you've got Hikvision 34-bit, 72-bit, 26-bit, depending on the system you're using. That's where you select your output. I'm not going to use Weigand, so I'm going to disable it and click save. Don't need it because it's not connected to anything. Okie dokie. Okay, so next thing to check, under the VCA sub-menu here at the top, what they have done is a little bit different, and this is the thing that may catch you out. Road traffic is the default mode, which is what most people would buy this for ANPR use. You wouldn't specifically buy this for the smart event functionality because we've got standard cameras that can deliver that smart event capability without the use of road traffic. So the default mode is road traffic. If you don't want to use it in road traffic mode, you can simply select smart event, which will deselect road traffic, click save, the camera will reboot, and you're able to make use of the smart events under the IDS camera range. You can't use them subsequently together. So the default mode is road traffic, which is why we sell it as a road traffic camera rather than smart event. But they are interchangeable. If you do want it for smart event, that's how you do it. But always make sure that the road traffic is selected to make sure, firstly, that you're not wasting your time, and by default it should be out of the box. Okay, so, and the smart display we'll come back to. That's a viewing screen that shows you as the ANPR reads happen, but we'll come back to that in a minute. Yeah, that's fine. So under VCA, we got a lorry there, so hopefully by the time we finish this video the lorry will go. Okay, so First thing we'll do is, under configuration, we're going to jump back and forth a few little times here. SD card. I've inserted the SD card during the installation process. Under network, I set all my network parameters up. Same default settings, integration protocols, etc. Platform access. If I want to use Hikconnect, I can put Hikconnect on there, enable it. Yep, set a code. I can now access Hikconnect on there, click save, and I can add that directly to my Hikconnect platform if I wish to, and I may do that in a minute. Under video and audio, 1080p, 25 frames a second. We are going to change this to H.265 and click save. And then under substream, that's fine. If you do want to use the audio, you need to change it to video and audio. I don't have a microphone connected, but if you do need the microphone, make sure you change the mainstream to video and audio the same as the substream. But you can see there, they've got third, fourth, and fifth stream available. Audio, that's where you set the settings, line in if you want it, region of interest, target cropping. Now, image. Now, this is where I'm going to show you the default configuration, which is where we would start. Again, lovely van parked straight in the way. But an Anpr camera, the image setup does differ slightly from what we would class as a normal camera configuration. So the scene node, you can select default scenes there, like most of our cameras allow now. But exposure settings, the exposure time for Anpr to work really efficiently on our product is 1/1000. Now you can reduce that. So what this effect has is at night, or as the light starts to fall in the evening, the camera image will get darker and darker and darker till it's almost black, or in most instances black. But what this allows us to do is when a car travels forward or reverse through the scene, it allows us to take the number plate read from that camera, because we're sort of mitigating the headlight effect by making the image dark effectively. So we reflect infrared off the number plate, so it needs to be a reflective number plate for this to work correctly. We reflect it back off the number plate and we do the OCR recognition on it, which then gives us the number plate read. It's quite a simple process, but it does mean we have to overexpose the camera. So our default setting on a normal CCTV camera is somewhere around 1/12 for a color view, 1/25 for a normal camera product. Now we're putting this at 1/1000 to make this really, really effective at night. And you can reduce this, so the more you reduce the exposure down, obviously the more detail you put back in the image at night, but the less effective generally the number plate read is. So always start at 1/1000 and work back if you feel you are able to do that. So a nice little tip for you. We actually set it as standard now. Iris mode, you can do it fixed or generic P-iris, leave it as auto, that's fine. Exposure time 1/1000, and the gain, again, we can adjust that, but the default is suggested as 20, and we'll leave it at 20. Okay, the next one, and again, you can put it as fixed, and it can always be 1/1000. But we'll leave it as auto for purposes of the video. Focus, semi-auto. Now again, you can change it to autofocus or manual. If you put it as autofocus, what this will do is every time a vehicle goes through, and this is really important, the lorry's going now, fantastic. As a vehicle drives through at night, it will always try to autofocus on that number plate, and it will throw the image out quite a lot. So leave it as semi-auto. So when you zoom it in and focus it, that's where the image will stay. That is the optimum performance for this, or we find the optimum setting for this camera, and why it is left as default. If you put it as manual, again, you can set it up so it's optimum for that image at night in that location. If you put it as auto, you'll tend to find you'll have a lot of issues with it trying to focus on number plates as the vehicle drives through, especially at speed. That will cause a lot of misreads. Day-night setting, so we do it triggered by video. So most of our product is day-night or auto. We do it triggered by video. So as the light level drops and the exposure is 1/1000, the light level drops, the image starts to get darker. Therefore, we switch it into black and white mode earlier because it's triggered by the video, which brings on the infrared. So we're effective at a lower light level before it gets dark. So triggered by video. The only thing I do is change that from 4 to 7. So I find in my personal experience, if we do the sensitivity to 7, as the light level drops, we change earlier, and therefore we able to realize number plate recognition through the whole 24/7 period very effectively. sometimes you find there's a little gap where you can have misreads between the changing from color to black and white with infrared. So that's my little handy hint. Supplement light off, IR supplement light is on, and LED light control, or the infrared light control, is set to auto. You can set it to manual and set it to full effectiveness, which is what I tend to do. Again, lots of little things we've learned over the years. We tend to always try to give it the most effective outcome, and that's by changing it to manual and really ramping up the infrared, especially when the car's much further away from the camera. We find it gives it a much more effective performance. Backlight settings, white balance, image enhancement, none of these are particularly important. The ones I've just done are particularly important, and the video adjustment is outdoor and local default. The local output set is on. That's that CVBS lead I showed you from the box. You can plug it in under the SD card slot and get the Anpr, or get the CVBS output to make sure the camera is working. So they're the most important settings in the image side. And then we'll go on to the vehicle detection side in a minute. OSD, again, we're going to give it a camera name. So camera name, IDS, Anpr, DVS. Save, drag that down there. All my cameras are set up the same. The one thing you can do on this latest model is click display tilt angle, and it'll show you the tilt angle there. You don't have to do it. Quite a nice little function, and it'll show you when we go back to the main view. You'll see that privacy mask, picture overlay. So if you want privacy masks, really up to you if you use it. If you're only concentrating on this road area and you want to mitigate the housing, if you're looking at that, please use privacy mask. And again, there's a car coming through, some of the metadata you can see there. Picture overlay, if you want to put a personalized picture, like I wanted to put a DVS image in this, or your company logo, maybe you want to put the council logo, the law enforcement logo, whatever it is you're trying to use or you really want to capture in that image to sort of promote a specific application, upload a little picture and that'll ingrain it in the image. And then image parameter switch, if you're really struggling with how the camera operates between different scenes, different light modes, you can enable this, choose your different image parameter switch, and then what time of the year. So like in the UK where it's darker, sort of November, December, January, February, we can have a preset schedule for the different months of the year and even different days effectively. So yeah, up to you. I don't normally use it, but it's there if you need it. If you're struggling with the image switch over, please set that as a schedule. But again, using the image parameters we set up a minute ago, generally find 99.9% of the time that will always work in the most effective manner. Under event, so you've got basic video events, you've got motion if you want to use motion. I don't use motion for any recording or alert process, so we'll clear that down, just OCD, neaten it up. You've got video tampering, if you want to use that, if you want to know when if the product has been tampered with, enable it, draw this area and sensitivity, and that will give you an output. Alarm input, alarm output if you're using it, so especially for a gate, under alarm output, and you want to use it, so maybe it's the gate control. 24/7, click save, and what you can do is test it manually. So if you've got a gate connected to it, click the manual alarm and it will trigger the camera output, then open the gate, and you know that's wired in correctly. Exceptions, you've got the hard drive full SD card effectively, network disconnected, IP address conflict, normal stuff, and then video quality diagnosis. So and again, if you want to enable this, so alarm detection interval, so 300 seconds perhaps, brightness, color cast, snow interference, stripe interference. So all of these different exceptions can be enabled, schedule set, and then the linkage set. So Notify Surveillance Center is again our software and our app. So if you want, or the Weigand output. So if you're using a third-party output, or you want to trigger a hard output, any of these diagnostic types can be output as an alarm effectively. So you get a lot more detail about the product. Vibration detection. Again, if somebody goes up there to try and bang the camera, so to move it out of view or tamper with it, I can enable that. Enable the sensitivity, but that's too high, so you put it quite low, actually, about 20%. And then what the linkage action is, send alarm, notify surveillance center, upload to the FTP, send email, trigger an output, perhaps Weigand again. So we do have vibration detection built into this product if you felt it was necessary to enable it, especially maybe in a public highway setting where people may think it's something that is not, like a speed camera, etc. We're able to enable this function. Some of our PTZs now have this function. You're able to enable it and alarm out based on the settings you've just set with the sensitivity, but we are going to not use it because it's in a secure compound. Smart event, so you've got audio exception, defocus and scene change. Very standard functionality for our product now. And then storage, we've got the SD card enabled, like I said, already fitted. So in the storage management, we're going to select it, click format, click go. This does take a couple of seconds, unfortunately. I might just pause this video while it's doing it. Okay, you're back with me. It has now formatted. I put simply a 32GB SD card in there. And I can, if I want to, click on that and encrypt it. So if I encrypt this, I need to put an encryption key in there. You need the encryption key. If you remove the SD card and need to do it, play it back, for instance, you will need to then insert the encryption key to be able to get any data off there. It's in a secure compound. In this instance, I'm not going to use the encryption, but if it's in a public setting and you use an SD card, to protect the data, it's probably a good idea to use the encryption format. And again, we have network hard drive, so NAS, IPSAN, etc. Cloud storage, you need a special device on the other end, and memory card detection. So you can see lots of data on the memory card is available here. So we've set it up now for so it's effectively done, unencrypted, that's fine. Schedule settings, what we're going to do is enable it. And I'm only going to record, in fact, I'm not going to record the video, but I am going to capture the event. So under the capture, we're going to put it as capture parameters, event triggered snapshot, capture number, just put it as 2 because otherwise it'll get too much. But you can put it up to 4. What this does now, and because it's an event triggered snapshot, when a vehicle comes through the scene, that's an event. It will take a snapshot and store it on the local SD card, and you'll get thousands effectively on an SD card. But you can also record the video on event if you want. So I can enable it and do event-based recording if you want the video and the snapshot. For most instances, the snapshot for the Anpr is perfectly adequate. So we're just going to make sure capture schedule. Oh, that'll do. Done. So 24/7, and it's on events. And under advanced, mainstream, yes, done. So save. And that's effectively the settings here on the camera, basic settings. Now we need to go and set up the road vehicle detection setup. And that is under the VCA tab. So click on VCA tab, and that's where the settings will be. So wait for it to load. Okay, so we've gone into the smart display section now. You can see the camera sat in there. No plates detected at the minute. It has worked. A couple of cars have come through, but I've cleaned it. Just trying not to help identify some of those vehicles, really. But I'm going to go and test my vehicle through this now. I've added my vehicle to the whitelist. I'll run it through a couple of times just so you can see the effect that this has on the smart display, and then any of the linkage action. So when a number plate is detected, you'll see, a linkage action. If it was an email, it would do notification, the output linkage, which is the most important. That would all be realized through that linkage method. But I'll run my vehicle through a few times, and we'll show you how that works. So give me 1 minute. I'll leave this running while I do that a second. Okay, so I've done the number plate. A nice UPS lorry tried to help me out as well. But you can see the last plate that was detected is on there, and you can see the history there. So if I double click on it, it gives you the number plate that's stored, the camera capture time, etc. And I can, so that's me going out, and that's me going in effectively. So there's all the detail there. And again, if I wanted to, so that'll just keep going. Effectively, I only need to do a small test. We know how good the Anpr is. Can't show you it working at night now, but I will try my best to show you on a separate video the nighttime performance, but it will be very, very good, as all of the Anpr products are. And again, so if you want to download any of the pictures, you can go into the picture file on the SD card. You can search there, and it would show up all of the number plates. I'm not going to click search because there'll be number plates in there, which I don't really want you to see. But that's how you do it. And the same with playback. If you did set it up to record, you can download those manually from the playback section. Like I said, this camera can be used with the I-Series, K-Series NVR, or Hike Central, or it can be used standalone. It really is that powerful. That's all I want to show you. So under live view, nothing will come in now, guarantee you that. But under live view, you can leave it in live view, and any vehicles that come through, you'll see, like you've already seen, you've got the full adjustment there of the PTZ focus, etc. But we've gone through all of that setup. You don't need to do that anymore. But effectively now, anything that comes through this field of view would be shown on there. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Lots of stuff to take in, but a really, really powerful product. And of course, we couldn't make this channel without your support. So thank you for everybody that does like, subscribe, and comment on the video channel. Please keep doing so. And we'll see you next week for another how-to video.